DTV, aka Oppavelli, aka Obsterdamus, here to give y'all the story on my Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua presser experience. Now, let me first off say that for most, some may say that it was a bit chaotic. So let me start. I get to the presser, and so yesterday, well, the day before yesterday, when I went to the media workout, I didn't check for credentials because the line that I was in was too long, and I didn't want to get out of line. And they were letting in so many kids. I'm like, man, if I get out of this line to go check for credentials, I'm gonna be way in the back. I ain't gonna get a good spot so I can grab content, right? So this time at the presser, I had time. I got there. It was at the Fillmore in Miami Beach. It really makes most sense for me to explain what Fillmore is, but let's just say, like I told y'all before, that the Live nightclub, Hotel Mountain Blue, is pretty much considered not South Beach. It's considered mid to North Beach for residents of Miami. We understand that, but people who visit, they don't understand that because it's marketed as being on South Beach, but it's not on South Beach. What up, OG? What up? What's cracking? Tommy Dread, what's up, fam? What's up? So I get to the media area. Again, I see Johnny Boy boxing. Johnny Boy, super cool cat. He from the Bronx up there. If you don't know who Johnny Boy boxing, he works with Fight Hype. He does his thing too, but he shoots for Fight Hype as well, from what I know. But so yeah, I get there. I asked the guy who's giving out credentials. I'm like, hey, I didn't pick up my credentials yesterday, so I start trying to pimp myself to get myself in, right? I'm like, yo, I didn't pick up my credentials yesterday, and so he gives me like the little tag thing, but he doesn't give me the actual pass that you see dangling. Use your imagination, you know what I mean. That pass that you see dangling. He didn't give me that, but he's like, yeah, just call me, and just to get you in. So I actually went in before even Johnny and all them, who was certified media. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it don't really matter in essence, because they were gonna be coming in maybe 10, 15 minutes later. And so he said, oh, just walk in there and you should be fine. But then when I get in there and I start walking to the media area, because you know how they have it. If you've ever been on a press conference, you know that they have certain areas. Well, okay, let me just say this. This press conference was open for the public. So usually when it's open for the public, they have a general admission area where they sit, and then they have like the media where they sit up closer. So I start to walk towards where the media sit, and the chick, she's like, I can't let you go past me because you don't have one of those, the actual credential. What do you call that shit? That shit's slipping my mind right now. But let's just say the actual credential pass. And so for this video, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make the thumbnail the little tassel thing that the guy did give me. He told me, like, yeah, just take this and you can walk in there and you'll be fine. So I get in there and I get to this chick, and she's like, nah, I ain't letting you pass. And I can't be mad at her. She doing her job. She getting paid for her job. Sister, and hey, I cannot be mad at her at all. Of course, yeah, I wanted to I wanted to juke her. I wanted to Barry Sanders her ass and get around her, right? But yeah. But anyway, so I kind of chill for a minute. I go talk to this other dude, let me tell you, they on point. Like Netflix was there too, of course, and they on point with the security. They see me standing there, oh, what's going on? And I tell them the story. Oh, talk to this guy. Talk to another guy. This guy's like, oh, well, we don't know the guy you're talking about. He asked me the guy's name, and I forgot the guy's fucking name. Well, no, I didn't know the guy's name because he was like, tomorrow, which is today, he's like, I'm gonna get you your actual pass. So he's like, but I forgot to get his fucking name. And so when I gave the guy, well, when the guy asked me his name, I didn't know his name. He's like, if you know his name, I really don't know who it is, but I would have let you go past. But since you don't have a name, just go back to the box office. So I went back to the box office, right? Went back to the box office, gave him my ID. I'm up there, like I said, trying to pimp myself. Like, yo, I got credentials. Yeah, I got credentials. Gave him my ID. They told me, they're like, yo, they're like, hey, we sent you something last week that said you didn't get credentials. First off, I checked the mail last week. I ain't getting nothing. Secondly, we in 2025, right? Why are you sending shit out in the mail? Most people work through emails these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell's going on? That shit's wild. But anyway, after this, I have to take this walk of shame from the. I had to take this walk of shame from the media box office because there's people behind. There's people coming in, and they like, damn. They knew immediately, like, oh, this motherfucker ain't get credentials. But like I said, it was open to the public, so I just went around. He told me just go around, go back out, go around, and come in through the general admission. So I get in general admission, smoothly. I told them, like, I was just in here, but they told me yada, 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 all that BS. I go sit in the general admission, and you're like, damn, I was almost there. I almost got my ass in there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just sitting there chilling on my phone or whatever. I tell my wife the story via text in our family chat. And then I started looking around like, okay, I bet, just checking the scene, seeing who's coming in and everything. And then after that, I go to charge my phone. I have a portable box that I carry to where I charge my phone. So then that's when I realized that I don't have the connection for my box to charge it, the little cord. And at this point, I already got like only 30%, 30% of my battery. That's why I say this issue was chaotic, but by the end of the story, you're gonna get just the magic in this shit, right? And so I'm like, oh man, dang. Not only did I have to take the walk of shame, but now I'm sitting here at the presser. I can't even charge my phone. So at this point, I'm like, okay, let me just try to preserve my phone as much as possible so I can get what I want for where I'm at, and I'll be good. And see, this is the importance of making the best out of any situation. And what I was telling my wife is like, yo, it forced me to, in the moment, recalibrate my mind, because you could easily just sit there and be mad at the situation, right? But you have the choice in any moment to not be mad. So I'm like, you know what? You can make any moment what you wanted to make. So I'm like, yo, all right, shit, hey, I'm already here. Of course, yeah, I got a little mad, and I got a little mad for a minute, right? Maybe a minute, but I was like, you know what, hey, I'm already here. Let me make the best of this moment. Let me make the best of this situation. So then, I'm sitting there chilling. Like I said, pressure starts, and this is literally like the biggest presser I've been to. Mind you, I left that cult last year, maybe in April last year. It's been a year, maybe over a year, right? I left the cult. And so I started doing pressers and going to shows like shortly after. I think, yeah, shortly after I left the cult. And so I've only been in the game. I think my first fight that I got media credentials for was the AEB and Blair Cobbs fight. And so, like I said, Josh was a bigger name than AB and Cobbs, and he's definitely more of an active fighter than those guys, right? So even though Anthony Josh was connected to Jake Paul in this fight, it's still a bigger fight. It's still a bigger fight, and so it's just a whole different vibe. The media is different. Like I said, you got people from everywhere. Yeah, people did come to the AB fight. Don't get me wrong, flew in and shit. But this, for those who go to pressers and fight and media, you understand what I'm saying when I say that this is just a different level. There's levels to this shit when it comes to pressers and stuff like that. So it's just on a different level, and you see the production is just way better than anything. Of course, like I said, it's connected with Netflix as well. So yeah, so the media, man, I enjoyed the presser. It was entertaining. I loved the back and forth between Alicia Baumgartner and Caroline. That's gonna be a hell of a fight, and I believe that I believe that Caroline may give AB that work when they do fight. So that's gonna be a big fight for women's boxing when that happens. I loved. It was funny to see Anthony Joshua like he's like, "What's a tea party?" That boy's lost his hell. He didn't know what the hell was going on. He's like, "What's a tea party?" But Jake Paul was just clowning the shit out of him the whole presser. And for me, Anthony Joshua, he just too nice. I don't know why he's so nice like that, but hey, it is what it is. Especially after answering the question about possibly killing Jake Paul in the fight, which he shouldn't even explain that. We all know that there's people who are masters at taking shit out of context, and it is what it is. There's these lower vibrational motherfuckers. But anyway, so yeah, the pressure's great. And I see somebody I love, of course, Anderson Silva's one of my favorites. I met him like 15 years ago up in Minnesota. And the great thing about that is that back then he barely spoke English at all. He barely spoke English. So it was great to see him speaking English, and he's pretty good at it now. So that's what's up. Shout out to him for evolving. But but yeah, the production and everything was just top notch. I loved it. But when it came to the face off, when it came to the final face off, when everybody was leaving, the fighters and everything, they got up. My battery died right before I started to capture. No, right when I started to capture Alicia Baumgartner and Leah facing off. So then I have no battery. So I'm like, dang, hey. But at first I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Now, if I didn't get some of the other face-offs, earlier ones, I would have made it. But I'm thinking like, yeah, I got enough battery. I got enough battery. I'm good. Smash my like button, please. But I ended up and phone turned off, and so now I'm there with no phone. So now I just got to sit here and really enjoy the Alicia Baumgartner face off with Leah, and then the Jake Paul face off with Anthony Joshua. So at the end, it ends and everything, and of course, media starts doing their thing, and I'm just sitting back, taking it all in. And then I spot, well, first off, I heard Anderson Silva say like, "Oh, I'm looking at one of my idols right in front," and I'm like, "What? Idol? Who?" And then I realized that he's talking about Roy Jones Jr. Now, let me explain this. My favorite fighter of all time is Ali. But the raw truth about it, I was too young to actually watch Ali fight. You know, he was done fighting by the time I really started understanding and really watching boxing, he was done. So, but of course, knowing those fights, of course, we got to. I watched some of his fights with my uncle and shit, but it's like and cousins, but it was already done. Like it's different. Like with Roy Jones, I got to actually live in the moment, grow up watching him. So he's definitely like he's my second favorite fucking fighter. Roy Jones. He was a fucking god. He was definitely a superhero out there. How he was whooping motherfuckers' ass. So I'm like, man, dang, my phone is dead. I'm like, my phone is dead. And I see Roy Jones Jr. up there. So I'm like, let me chill, man. I'm like, okay. I want to meet him. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna meet Roy Jones Jr. today. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm like, fuck it. And so, I sit back for a little bit. He's doing his media thing. Then he walks out one of the doors. But the door that he walks out, remember, he's on the media side. I can't really explain it because you guys just don't know how this looks. But the door he goes out of from media is different than the door that I go out since I was in general admission. So he goes out there. I'm like, oh, well, shit. Let me just leave. So I started diddling daddling on my phone, see if I can get if it could just come on. Because sometimes your phone will go off and then it'll come on. You know what I'm saying? But then I walk out. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just gonna go leave. I enjoyed myself here. Let's go. So then I walk out, start going towards the exit, and there goes Roy Jones and quote unquote, I think it's his driver or security. And so immediately I'm like, hey, Roy Jones, what's up? My childhood hero. He's like, and then I'm just like, man, I love you, man. I love you. Thanks for making my childhood great. And he's like, oh, thank you, man. I appreciate you, brother. And I, shook his hand. So, like I said, for me, it was definitely a magical moment because what's up, Rudra? So yeah, for me it was a magical moment for the simple fact of shaking his hand. I started to go back as a young elementary boy, because up in the soda, right? For recess, you got to go outside. So me and one of my best friends, Anthony Harris from the Chicago back in he's from the Go. So we'll go outside, and at recess, we reenacting Roy Jones Jr. for weeks, into the summer. We reenacting Roy Jones Jr. And so when I shook his hand, my mind immediately went to those moments. And also the great thing is that, like I said, my phone was dead. And I just, I couldn't get no picture. But the joy of it is that, talking with my wife about it, for me, she knows that I don't believe in accidents. I don't believe in coincidences. So of course, if I see my name somewhere, what does this mean? You know what I'm saying? Or one thing we as people, we don't realize how perfect, quote unquote, car accidents are, right? Like your car had to be here at a perfect moment for it to even happen. But most people don't take that into consideration. So for me, there's no such thing as accidents, and there's no such thing as coincidences. What happens to you is supposed to be happening, depending on the vibe that you choose to dial into. And I know that's gonna go over a lot of y'all heads, but that is what it is. But hey, man, like I said, the joy of this whole situation was the idea that I was able to continuously recalibrate myself in the moment instead of being mad. And I started reaching for ways to just feel better about it and make the best out of the moment. Like I said, it was up to me to make the situation better, and I did. And then I ended up meeting one of my childhood heroes, Roy Jones Jr. So, man, that's the conclusion. Shout out to everybody out there. Yeah, man, this live thing is cool. It's cool. Y'all, I'm most likely gonna go to the Wayne today. And I definitely found my cord for my box. So I definitely will have full battery for that. But again, blessings to everybody that got real love for me. Y'all have a blessed Thursday. I'm gone. Oh, before I get out of here, replay gang, smash my like button. Haters, lurkers, lames, smash that thumbs down button. Hey, peace.